Welcome in, everybody. Ty Bartellin with a volleyball player profile as we go into Austintown Fitch and one of the bright upcoming stars in Kylie Folkwein. She got recently a player of the game. We're going to go a little bit deeper and get to know her a little bit more with the player profile. And I guess let's just start with the freshman experience so far now. I mean, you've been a freshman for a couple months. You've now gotten experience varsity athletics as a high schooler now. What's that kind of experience been like for you coming up into the high school ranks and playing varsity level volleyball?
I would say it is completely different from what I've seen. Coming from my middle school 8th grade team to straight varsity, the pace, like what people expect from you to play like is different. Like you have to have like less mistakes. Your mentality has to be there. Like in middle school, like if you make a mistake, yeah, you can just shake it off. But in this one, you have to learn from it. Like you have to keep going when you learn from it and try to help yourself.
How impactful has it been having Riley Simons to be there and play with? I know you two have had a close relationship prior to, but you guys really didn't have many opportunities to play together. So it must be exciting going into freshman year and having this opportunity now.
I I would say I really love playing with Riley. She's my best friend throughout the whole middle school. We were never allowed to be on the same team, so they had to like split us up. But now that we're on the same team together, I think our chemistry has to be like one of the best on our team because she knows me and I know her, and like we know each other well enough to like figure each other out and like when we're playing on the court together. So I think it helped the team a lot and us a lot.
I know a lot of the seniors on this squad too, and I've seen them come up since freshman year and how they've grown. What have you learned from some of the seniors and watching their play style? And what are some of the things that they've taught you, namely, since joining this team?
I would say that they've taught me to like always try to stay positive, especially Joe. Joe has taught me so much that I have learned in volleyball in under a month that I have learned my whole life. Like Joe has been probably the biggest role model for me. And then like everybody else on the team, like Avery, Julia, Sierra, um, there's a bunch more, but they just been like such like great supporters of me, and I've made so many great friends, and I'm gonna have so many great memories by the end of the season from them.
You also work hard, though, as a student as well. You had a 4.0 GPA throughout middle school. And I know that's something that takes a lot of hard work and effort to do that and be a multiple sport athlete. How do you find the time to do it? How do you find the motivation to do it and keep up with it like you did through middle school?
I would say I kind of try getting all my school stuff done in school, so I didn't have to do anything outside of school. In middle school, I really didn't have to study that much because everything just came to me. But now in high school, it's a lot different. Then I have to start studying a lot more. Like as soon as I get home from school, I study, do my schoolwork, and then I go to practice, and then I come home and do more schoolwork, and then I finally get to go to bed.
Yeah, I get that too. It'll keep ticking up too. Try to get as much as you can at school done. I was the same way. I completely understand it. I mean, you had a list of accomplishments that you did, and not just volleyball, but I mean, softball, basketball, multiple sport athlete, like we said. I mean, do you prefer one sport over the other to play, or is it just depending on the season for you?
It really just depends on the season, and like for me, it just like how well I'm doing. Like, say if I'm in a slump for softball, then that would be like my least favorite sport at the time. And if I'm doing really good in the other one, then I'll like that one. But if I'm doing good at all of them at the same time, it's so hard to pick because each of my teammates from every single team, I just love them so much, and like I could want to be with them all the time.
I mean, I'm sure you've met the basketball team already. I know you're catching Sydnie Watts, who already made a huge name for herself this past season for Fitch. You're involved with a lot of high-profile athletes in this Austintown program. Does it ever get overwhelming for you dealing with so much sports, or how are you able to handle that too, and just trying to learn so much as your first year in high school?
I would say there's so much like I feel a lot of pressure coming in because like everybody knows my name. Everybody knows that I'm very athletic and talented and have the capability to help Fitch throughout the years. But like for each and every sport, I have to fill in a huge role. Like I have to make sure I'm consistent, I'm confident, and I have to make sure that I'm always like picking up my teammates. And even though I'm a freshman, one of the youngest ones on the team. I have to act like I'm a senior and helping them, like how they help me.
And saying that too, I don't feel like we get to hear it enough from the freshmen that get into that varsity level right away. Not too many freshmen start at the varsity level. It's a tough transition from that middle school level to the varsity level. I mean, outside of what you said in this academic world, you talked about being a student from middle school to high school. What are the differences you've seen in the volleyball realm from middle school now into high school?
I would say that like when I was in middle school, like when we had to play like Canfield, Borman, like the teams that we still play in high school, that we play in high school, like from playing them, I noticed that like I'm not playing the people that I used to play, so I'm not familiar with them, and I had never seen them play before. And coming up to varsity, like I have to be so consistent because in middle school I wasn't the best volleyball player, but like me now compared to middle school, I'm like a completely different person. I've improved so much, and everybody else from middle school to high school has improved, but like playing, it's just the tempo, the speed, like it's just so much more like pressure, and like you have to like own up to everything every single minute of the game.
What gives you that kind of determination to stick with volleyball? Like you said, you had your struggles with it early on. What kind of gave you the determination to stick with it and ultimately start finding success in the sport?
Um, I would say my mentality, my confidence is what I think held me back throughout the first couple of games of the season. And I wasn't able to play my first 3 games because I went to Florida for softball, so I had to sit out. And I think that got in my head a little bit, and I was like nervous that like, what if I don't play because I was gone? But then like playing my first game, I was really nervous and I had a bunch of mistakes. But then like noticing that the team, like we all came together and that we were all showing like how like we can come together and like work together, I just felt like appreciated, and like that they were proud of me. And I think that them being like confident to like set me, and that they like think that I can do it, that it just made me like feel more confident as a player, like that I can prove myself to be in the position that I want to be in.
You were in high level competition with some of these volleyball players outside of the sport of volleyball. I know about your competitive dancing with Ava Hewlett before you retired to sports. What was talk about that a little bit too, and the competitive dance, and what was that experience like, and what made you ultimately, I guess, retire to sports then?
I would say me and Ava were best friends, and kind of sucks that we don't get to play each other for volleyball because she goes to Middle Ridge. But during dance, I think I did it for 10 or 11 years, and it was so hard to balance out dance between softball because I would have dance from like 4:15 to like 9:30, and then if I had to miss softball or dance, one of the two would always be mad. So I guess I just like started to grow liking more sports instead of dance, and so did Ava Hewlett too. And now we both don't dance.
Do you find any of the experiences that you had in dance that have helped you in sports in any number of ways?
I think my coordination and like my ability to catch on to things very quickly, like my footwork for like any of my sports, it's so much more easier to me. And like I would say my flexibility, that also helped me a lot from dance. And I would just, yeah, that's really what dance helped me with.
I mean, it's been an awesome season that you've been off to already, and I'm sure you're learning so much along the way as well. I mean, let's go into just this experience with the coaches that you've gotten to have time under at Fitch too. What's the coaching styles been like too, and what have you learned from all your coaches now at the varsity level?
I would say that each coach has taught me something different. Like Coach B, the JV coach, she taught me how to correct my swing. I would always swing for line, but now I'm able to open up. And Coach Bartlett, she really helped me with like my confidence. Like she just reminded me that just shake it off and you can always help from the next mistake. And Coach Mo, she's just always like cheering me on, and she's always so excited for us after every single point. And she's what brings like the hype to our team.
I mean, the hype is definitely there. And I mean, there's all kinds of great volleyball players that you've gotten a chance to compete with and compete against now. I mean, talk about some of those other friends too. You talked about Ava Hewlett. They're already off to a great season as well over there in Mineral Ridge. You have any other friends that wear different jerseys too that you pay attention to their seasons? And do your friends check up on you and ask how your season's going?
I played club with Reagan Price and Mallory, I don't know how to say her last name, Malich from
Yeah,
Lakeview.
they're
And
both really
we
good.
played against them. That was the only game that we lost, but if we played them again, it would be a good game. But like playing against them, I was like, I knew what they were gonna do, and so it was like kind of like easier to like predict, but it's just really good. So
A lot of competitive volleyball, a lot of good teams. That was an exciting matchup, and I mean that'll be one too. We look forward to in the future. Hopefully, we could see that again. Let's get to some rapid fire questions before we get you out of here, Kylie. And let's go first off: sunrise or sunset? You a morning bird or a night owl?
I would say sunset.
Sunset. All right, let's go. Dream job or lottery? Which would you prefer? Win the lottery or get your dream job?
The lottery.
The lottery. What would be the first big purchase for you if you got the lottery?
I would buy a mansion.
The mansion. What's the dream car that goes with that mansion?
I would say probably a Benz or a G-Wagon.
Talking about buying stuff, what's your last impulse buy now? What's the last thing you bought on impulse?
I have a package of silk pillowcases on my bed.
What is your best way of learning? Do you learn more by watching or by doing?
Probably by doing.
Prefer books or movies?
Movies.
Out of all the records that you've taken a look at Fitch Athletics, which one do you think you have the most or you have the best shot at?
I would say I don't know if it's a thing, but I feel like for softball, I can maybe hit the most home runs.
That's always a good record, too. Always keep those goals big. How about superheroes? Do you have a favorite superhero?
I would say Catwoman.
Who's your real-life hero?
I would just say everybody in my family.
Would you move forward in time, or back in time if you could time travel?
Backwards.
How far back would you like to go?
I want to go to the 20s. I want to be one of them flappers.
Oh, boy, way far back. What do you think is the thing people most misunderstand about the sport of volleyball?
That they just don't realize that how much you have to have a strong mental game for, because it's so easy to make mistakes, but you have to be so fast to get out of them and get out of your head.
All right, Kylie, we've appreciated your time. Before we let you go, I want to give you that chance to thank your support system and shout out all the big names that have been there for you throughout your career.
I would just say thank literally everybody that has been in my family, my friends, my volleyball team, my basketball team, every single one of my coaches. They have helped me improve so much. And just really anybody that I have a connection with and that I talk to on the daily has been there and helped me with everything that I have accomplished and am willing to accomplish.
All right, Kylie, we're excited to see how the rest of your volleyball season turns out. Good luck with that. Good luck with the other sports that we're going to be looking forward to seeing you in, as well as the season come along. This is Ty Bartell, Kylie Folkwein, player profile.